All right. Hey, who likes my cool tabletop? Who loves it? Anybody? Anybody? Man, I rock a chair every day. Literally, no joke. I was practicing this week, and I was like, what do I have? And I went to the kitchen and was like, I have a kitchen chair. My wife doesn't know about it, but the cat got everything on camera. I'm not even kidding. Hey, my name is Justin. Who's the first time to walk in Wisely? First time to walk. Julian, put your hand on your line. All right, first time to walk in Wisely. First time. Okay, guys, here we go. Who's done this before? The rest of y'all. Awesome. All right, if you're excited to be here this weekend, on the count of 3, I want you to scream. Like as loud as, like, those high schoolers are nothing, all right? Middle school is where it's at. Y'all are the jam. Transit rocks. I've been doing transit for like 4 or 5 years. I love transit. On the count of 3, you got the high schoolers know y'all are more awesome, okay? All right, you guys with me?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3. That was awesome. That was crazy. That was, yeah, it happens that way. It happens that way. Hey, well, like I said, my name is Justin Killillay. There's no cup, but that's pretty cool. I appreciate the call there. We just moved down here from Atlanta, and I am beyond pumped to be with you guys here. So, listen, this weekend we got this cool theme that I got actually hanging above my head, and it's called In the Making. And so really, like, someone's like, what does in the making mean? Well, it's kind of how it sounds when you get through the birthday. Hey, make sure you guys follow the Instagram. Get some hashtags going. I'm helping you out. Listen, if you guys got phones, extra real quick before I get too far. If you have a phone or a DS. What, am I blind? You playing Mario Kart? No. Smash Bros? Pokemon. Hey, who's your small group leader?
Come on, bro.
It's this man right here.
I'm the small group.
Man, take his DS.
He's a Boy Scout, so I think the Boy Scouts might tell the truth.
I'm also Boy Scout.
Hey, if you have a cell phone or a DS or I don't know whether electronic devices, if you have your Xbox in here, listen, some people get crazy that way. Just go ahead and put them away for now, unless you're gonna take cool pictures or take notes. But like actually be taking notes, not on Instagram looking up at your boo. I know about y'all. Listen, I ain't done. Otherwise, Julian is kindly accepting donations for iPhones. He loves them. Just kidding. He was Android first.
I have iPhone now.
He does have iPhone now. He converted. It took some work. You can clap for that. You can clap for that. All right. All right. So make sure you do that. So guys, in the making. What does in the making mean? Well, it's when something is in the process of becoming what it was meant to be. It's like a work in progress. For some of you guys, it's like straight A's. For some of us, that is a really hard job. Right now, like I'm working for straight A's in college. Some of y'all are doing this in your classes. For others of you, maybe it's a sports team. If you're into sports, maybe you're trying to get that final high score. I know like that was a time when I was really big into high scores, taking my brothers at everything. I never got it, don't worry about it. Some of you, maybe it's a boyfriend or girlfriend, has a work in progress. I know who you are, or you know who you are. I don't know who you are. You know who you are. I think you just called your friend out. But we all have these things that are in process. They're a work in progress. And we're in the middle of them, and they're in the making. Right? We got all these things going on in life that are in the making. And the problem is, the unfortunate thing is they just don't happen overnight. Those straight A's, you don't just wake up tomorrow and go, man, I got every grade ever. I'm awesome. We're going to Harvard tomorrow. I wish it was that way. If you're that smart, come let me know. I need you to take my test for me because I want to graduate sooner than later. But they don't happen overnight. Like these things take time and they take effort. And sometimes we understand the effort that's going into it. Like sometimes like you're like, I want to be an all-star player. So you get the effort that goes into working on the sports team. Or maybe it's your school and you're like, you know what? I actually really enjoy school. I want these straight A's. So I understand where my effort's going. But oftentimes, we don't understand the effort. Like, we're like, man, this feels pointless. This is just stupid. What am I doing? And why am I doing this? So, like, for example, when I was growing up, I had to do this thing around the house called chores. Oh, yeah. All right, listen, before y'all start talking, if you are in here getting paid to do chores, just zip it. Okay, we tried that. I got 2 younger brothers. We went up to my mom and dad one time. We're like, hey! So we got friends at school who've been saying, actually it was church, we were homeschooled. At church, who was saying they get paid to do chores. We had a document written up. We had like a constitution. We're like, our parents are going to sign this. We're going to make money off of chores. And so we're like, hey mom, hey dad, We want to get paid to do chores. My parents, dead face, looked at us, they go, you like eating? And that wasn't even that conversation. We just kept it. We were like, you know what? We'll do, yes ma'am, we love food. Food is amazing. So chores, my mom went, when I was in high school, my brother's a little bit younger behind me. She would go off to work and then text us a list of chores. Now, this really wasn't a huge deal. It was like vacuuming, sweeping, dusting. We were like, oh man, we figured out like a timestamp. Like vacuuming was like a 10-minute job. Now the parents then were like, no it ain't. But for us and like teenagers, we knew how to kind of quickly skirt corners and cut around things. Dusting was maybe 20 minutes, sweeping about 15. And the reason why I'm telling you we figured out the timing is because like there was things we wanted to do, like play Xbox or watch movies or binge Netflix before our parents got home. Especially before mom got home. So we figured out, all right, is this a chore that I can do right at the end of my free time before she gets home? Or do I do it right now and then I can play Xbox till long? And we kind of did this thing where like she texts us the list, we'd look at each other, we'd fight it out, and then we'd have our chores and we'd call it a day. But there was one chore. Oh my gosh, I hated this chore. Some of y'all are also gonna hate this chore. Like you're gonna feel me, especially like the guys in here. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna feel me on this one. All right, because here's why I hated this chore. I couldn't get a timing down on it. This chore could take from 15 minutes to like 2 days later. You ready for this chore was? Cleaning my room. Oh no, oh man, it's the worst. All right, some of the girls in here are like, oh my gosh, why don't you clean your room? Listen, all right, listen. For men, what you see as a mess is organized chaos. We know where the Cheetos are. We know where last week's Mountain Dew is. Listen, if we clean it, we can't find nothing. We're like late for school. Where's my socks? We have no idea what's going on. And I hated this chore. Here's especially why I hated it, because I thought it was pointless. Because literally, within 2 days, my room would go back to a grade A bomb. It'd be like some of y'all invite your best friend over than chasing a monkey on Red Bull. It's crazy. It's awful. Man, I thought it was so pointless. And like, have you ever felt like that? And I know my illustration is kind of goofy and extreme, but is there something going on in your life where you're just like, man, all this energy and this effort, and sometimes it's every day, it feels pointless. I just don't understand why I'm doing it. Maybe it's school, maybe it's that friendship maybe you're trying to invite somebody to church. You're like, man, just come try transit, please. And they're like, nah. And you're like, this is stupid. This is pointless. Why am I doing this? Right? And so I think there's this thing that happens. I think we often deal with these things, and one of the point is, or leave us like counting down the days till we just don't do anymore. Like for me, I was like, when I turn 18, I ain't got to clean my room because I'm my own man. I tell you what, I was wrong. As long as I lived in her house, I try to keep that room. Just listen, okay? Respect your parents, all right? So here's what happens. I think when we're going to feel like this, there's 3 types of responses. And first is, we complain about it. How many of y'all, just real quick honesty, who likes to complain? Oh, yeah. I see you should leave every hand up, because if you aren't, you're doing it in your soul and you know it. I'm a big complainer, all right? Man, when I was sitting in traffic, and I'm from Atlanta, so like our traffic is like 10 times, but you guys have like traffic like 20 minutes. Ours is like literally the whole day. Yeah. If you want to go anywhere, you leave at like 3 a.m. Okay, just saying. All right. So like I complain, especially when my mom came home, clean your room. Oh! And you complain about it, right? So that's not like the first thing we do is we continue to complain about it because we just like, we're like, why does it matter? I don't see the point of this. All this effort I'm doing. But here's the second one, guys. I think sometimes we don't really give it our all. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Like your mom or dad is like, hey, Billy. I'm just calling him. If your name's Billy, I don't know you. This is anonymous, okay? Billy, take out the trash. But you're like playing Fortnite and you're like, I can't stop it right now. You're going through TikTok and you're like, fine. And so like you do it, but like you miss one bathroom, you don't get that trash, you're like dragging your feet. You know who you are, because we all did this. Oh, I'm gonna take the trash out. I still don't sound, I'm sorry. And so like you don't really give it your all. You don't give everything to it. You have to grumble out something, you're spitting mean words at your mom, because she interrupted your time that you have to take out trash. You don't give it everything that you could possibly give it. And finally, maybe you just don't do it at all. Maybe whatever this thing is you got going on, you're like, I don't see the point of it. This feels dumb. You're like, you know what? Screw it. I I don't need school. When I finish middle school, I'm gonna be a pro gamer on Twitch. Watch me. Come follow. This kid's giving me a thumbs up. Careful, careful. Just finish, at least finish high school, okay, man? But seriously, some of us, and that's a little extreme, but like that's how we can feel. Is like, you know what? I just don't want to do it anymore. So can I ask you a question? Whatever this thing is for you that you're struggling with, that seems pointless, what if there's more to your story than you know? What if there's something bigger going on that you don't know about? So let me illustrate this. I want to take a look at this photo. All right? Now, does anybody have any idea what this photo is?
Pizza.
Pizza, basketball, football. Basketball. I hear a lot of football. Okay. All right. Next photo. All right. Who's me what this is?
Mango.
Okay. And finally, what's this?
They don't know that.
All right. Some of those guesses were way on point. Someone was cheating.
Yeah.
Somebody was totally cheating. Leaders. And some of those, man, I'm praying for you guys. Anyway, so here's what you were actually looking at. And here's what I want you to see. Like, the point of this idea is that all those really zoomed in photos were kind of like your life. It's all you can see right now. But when you zoom it out to a different perspective, you see what it's all a part of. And so all those things right now that kind of seem pointless, if we look at them another way, we might see that there's more going on than we realized. So think about this with me. What if the situations we have that seem stupid, or they're meaningless, maybe they're confusing, what if they seem that way right now because you can't see the bigger picture yet? What if God is actually up to something more in your life? What if he's challenging you to do something or to be someone or to even go and love someone that's actually going to help make you into the person that he wants you to be? What if your right now has a purpose? Where you're heading somewhere, you're being prepared for something, and it's making you into someone new. So over the next few days, we're going to talk about this guy who was in a similar place to you. What he was going through seemed kind of pointless. He was like, I don't understand why I'm doing this thing. And the person, some of y'all maybe have heard of them. Have y'all heard of David?
Yeah.
Like David from the Bible, like King David? Spoiler alert.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So he's a pretty big deal in the history of our faith. See, his story takes place in the Old Testament. So if you ever pick up a physical Bible like I have here, and not just your phone, the Old Testament takes place in this half of the Bible, and then it's the New Testament. And the Old Testament is everything that happens before Jesus comes to earth. And so David lived this really crazy life. And over the next few sessions, so between tonight, tomorrow morning in your small groups, and then tomorrow night, we're going to talk about the life of David and some of the things that he was up to. Before we get to some of the really crazy stuff that went on, or some of the things that he was struggling with, we got to go back to his beginning. Because see, David was a lot like some of you. See, around your age, a little bit older, scholars argue over it, he had this job. Who here wants a job at your age? Why do you want a job at your age?
Money. So I.
All right. Well, David wasn't getting paid. David had to eat. Listen, his dad was like, "Hey, you got to eat." Okay, fine. So David had this job, and I mean, this was way before he became king. You ready for this job? He was a shepherd. Oh yeah, that's hot stuff right there. Totally out there in the fields. Yeah, is the right answer. Sheep stink. They're also dumb. They just walk around aimlessly, and you're like, "Oh, there goes Joe. Now I gotta go catch Joe again." All right, so David was this normal person who's a shepherd. He's just trying to stay out of trouble. He was a lot like you guys, and he would spend hours each day in the fields with these sheep, and that seems kind of boring, right? Like, it seems kind of like, oh man, I would not want that job. Can I just stay at home in the AC? I don't want to be out there with those sheep. And according to the Bible, though, there's actually some excitement that went with David's job, and in my personal opinion, a little too much excitement. See, every now and then, like a lion or a bear, according to the Bible, it was like plural, multiple lions and bears were coming. They're like, hey, sheep sounds good tonight. And David had to fight these. I'm sorry, but guys, at least your bed isn't trying to eat you when you make it in the morning. Like, David's life was not boring. He had to fight these sheep, or not fight the sheep, he had to fight the lions and the bears to protect the sheep. And I'm not friends with David. David and I don't sit there on Instagram and see each other DMs and be like, yo, bro, how's he going? He's like, #shepherd. But like, I have to guess, because the Bible doesn't tell us, I have to guess with him living so long ago and him being human and him being a lot like us in this room, is that there were probably times that he would wake up, have to go out to the fields in the morning and be like, man, I just don't understand why I'm doing this. I don't understand what the point of where I am is leading me to. What is possible? Do I have to do this forever? This isn't what I want to do forever. And I bet that David asked me these questions. I think some of us feel like that. Like what we're being asked to do feels pointless. So let me tell you what happens to David, all right? So one day, David is actually not watching his sheep. I don't know if he like hired somebody like on an app, was like, please come watch my sheep. But anyway, this day, David was a lunch lady. He made some sandwiches because you see, he had some older brothers. And his older brothers were part of the army of Israel. And that's David's nation, okay? And so the army of Israel is facing this other nation called Palestine. Now, quick biblical nerdy backstory. Palestine had been condemned essentially by God for many generations, and the Israelites kept getting lazy about it and never quite finishing them off. So once again, these two knuckleheads are banging it out, and they're on the fields. And this is when David rolls up with his sandwiches for his brothers, and here we hear some commotion. Because you see, for a few days now, the Palestinians had this guy named Goliath. Ever heard of Goliath? Yeah, he's this big old giant. I didn't think of like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but you add a few extra inches to him. Big, mean, loud voice. And he's making fun of Israel. He's like, ha ha, puny Israelites. And then he takes a step further and he's like, your God is puny, I'll crush you all. And the Israelites got like really scared of him. Man, they're like, we just don't want to go out there. We just don't want to mess with it. So for days they did nothing. And every day Goliath came out and was like, ha ha ha, and just said some really stupid stuff. And so David's out there this one day. And David hears it, and he's like, bro, what is that? They're like, oh, that's Goliath. We don't want to deal with Goliath. And he's like, oh, but he's making fun of our God, and I'm not cool with that. So he goes to the king at the time, King Saul, and is like, yo, Saul, I'm gonna take out Goliath. And they have a conversation, and Saul's like, you're doomed, and sends him out to the fields. And I don't recommend this at home, but like David goes and gets like a slingshot, and he gets some stones, and he just takes him, and he's like, hey, Goliath! And hits him square in the head. He like no scopes him, right? Like one shot, one kill. Goliath is down. Read your Bible. There's some really cool stuff in there. Hey, phone down. I see that.
Call of Duty Bible.
But seriously, so all of a sudden, David goes from this unknown shepherd boy. He's not popular. He's not cool. All of a sudden, he goes from that to the hero of Israel. They're like celebrating. They're like, they even wrote a song. If you go read it in 1 Samuel, they wrote a song about David for slaying the Goliath. And then eventually it progresses and they're like, David kills his thousands. It's really cool stuff. So he has this song, and all of a sudden he's really popular. But here's the thing I don't want you guys to miss. Because in this whole hero story, David says something right before he goes out to fight Goliath. When he and King Saul are having a conversation. Because Saul asked him, he's like, David, you're a shepherd boy. Man, how are you actually planning on taking down this Goliath? And so here's what David says. David persisted. I have been taking care of my father's sheep and goats, he said. When a lion or a bear comes to steal a lamb from the flock, I go after it with a club and rescue the lamb from its mouth. I'm sorry, that's a little violent. If the animal turns on me, I catch it by the jaw and club it to death. Mind you, he's your age. This is some, man, you guys have potential. I have done this to both lions and bears. And I'll do it to this pagan Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine. So do you see what David saw? See, all those days he spent protecting the sheep, fighting bears, fighting lions, they were preparing him for Goliath. They had purpose. And David could easily have sat there in the fields and thought God had just abandoned him, that God was wasting his time, that he was just in a useless place, in a useless season, fighting off, literally having his life threatened every day to protect some stinky sheep. But he realized that now he's got purpose. Now he's something different, something we all need to see. See, David realized that what may have seemed insignificant at the time mattered for his future. Those lions and bears preparing him for the giant. And even though he didn't know it yet, shepherding the sheep, taking care of that flock, was preparing him for being the king of an entire nation. At least be grateful you don't have that responsibility thrust on you. You just need to take care of your grades. Man, a whole nation would be scared. And so David's story shows us this important phrase I'm about to repeat over and over and over again, because it's really important, guys. And it's simply treating now like it matters now. And that's all we can do, is we can just treat now, this moment, like it matters right now. When we find ourselves in a situation where we have to do something that frustrates us or it seems pointless, instead of running to complain about it or bailing on it entirely, we need to treat it like it matters. Because even though we may not have seen the whole picture at the moment, it's part of who you're in the making to become. So I know this because I've lived it. So remember earlier I told you guys I hate cleaning my room, right? Thought it was totally pointless. Agreed. All right, so I learned eventually over time that this was a skill that is highly recommended to have, because it taught me the value of stewarding my things. And it's just healthier. Listen, if you live in a pigsty, it's just healthier to have stuff vacuumed up and cleaned up. Okay? And so now where I'm at in my life, I've learned that it's important to keep things clean, because now I have a whole household to be responsible for. And for the most part, I try to do a really good job of keeping it cleaned and vacuumed and doing the dishes. And my wife may disagree with me at times, and she does. But I have learned from cleaning my room, which was one thing, but now I have to clean our room, the cat's litter box, do the dishes, vacuum, etc. It's all these things that they build a morale where I'm like, I'm responsible for this. Because it's not just me anymore. And it's something that mattered. Like David, I was like, oh, what I'm going through is important. What I'm going through is something that's it's in the making for me. And so I think it's just, it's the same idea for you guys. You may not feel like someone who matters, or even what you're doing matters. You certainly may not even feel like a hero like David, or even the purpose of where you are right now, or what you're doing. But trust me, you need to treat now like it matters now. Where you are and what you do right now does matter. Every day matters. Every little thing matters. How you treat people near you at school, how you handle your grades, how you treat your mom and dad, all this stuff is part of God working in your heart. The lions and the bears of today, they are preparing you for giants of tomorrow. And you may not immediately face it tomorrow. Probably won't be tomorrow morning. You're going to wake up and be like, giant outside. But you're going to have something that comes up where you're going, man, that little thing, that one A that I couldn't work on, that felt pointless. Because I worked and got that A, I realized I was being prepared for this class down the line. These things matter. We need to start treating our now like it matters now. So how do we do that? Because that's all great stuff to say. You can hashtag that, tweet it out, write out a note and be like, that's going to treat now like it matters now. But wait, how do I go about this? You first need to figure out that thing in your life that feels pointless or frustrating. The thing that doesn't seem to matter right now. Maybe it's a really hard class. Listen, I feel you. I took chemistry. I don't like chemistry. Y'all aren't there yet. Trust me, chemistry stinks. It's hard. Physics is worse. Calculus actually was worse. That's all aside the point. There might be a class right now that just is really hard, and it feels, you're like, I don't need this. This feels dumb. My parents put me in this. I didn't choose it. Why am I doing this? Maybe it's a friendship. Maybe it's that relationship mentioned earlier. Y'all can stay quiet on whoever that is. I get it. Maybe it's even this weekend retreat. Maybe you were dragged and forced to come here. Small computers. For even some of you guys are in the making while being here. I'll let Jason handle y'all.
Look away.
Maybe for some of you, it's this weekend retreat. You were forced to come. You were signed up against your will. And you're like, man, I don't understand why I'm here. And kind of encourage you this weekend to be open to it. To let God possibly work, even if you don't believe in Him. And that's okay. I mean, we're glad you're here. Just be receptive to the way the weekend might flow. Because you may really take something away from this weekend that impacts your future. So once you've identified that thing that frustrates you or it feels pointless, the next thing you do is you just take one step to shift the way you approach it. Maybe that's complaining a little bit less, right? because we're all big complainers. Maybe this time you're just sucking it in. You're like, okay, let me do this thing. Maybe that means you actually go all out. I mean, they say take the trash out. You're almost whistling like the Seven Dwarves minor tune, like, you know, right? When you're taking the trash in, you're like, all right, yes, Mom, yes, Dad. You put Fortnite down and go, it's okay, I can get that high score back later. I can get that guy later. Whatever it is, maybe even show up and you just give it your all. Maybe you're ready to bail on the baseball team. You're like, you know what, it's not even worth me going out for it. But this time you're like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to give it everything I have. I want to be all in on this thing. Just change how you treat it. Just shift that way you approach it. Remember the pictures from earlier. Whatever that little microscopic thing is that you're frustrated with right now, remember there's a bigger lens that you can look at it through. And that God's even looking at it through. Because God is up to something even if you don't see it right now. Because maybe this thing in your life is part of who or what He's making you to be. Treat now like it matters now. God wants to use you now to make a difference. So don't count yourself out because you're not the all-star kid. You got all A's, you got that boyfriend, you got that girlfriend, you sit with this person at lunch, you got this Twitter account, whatever all that is. Don't count yourself out because you don't have all these things. Just treat now like it matters now. Because one day I believe that you're going to look back on this moment. Maybe for some of you, it's even this week in retreat. You're going to look back in like 12 years and be like, man, if I hadn't been at that week in retreat, I would not be where I am today. And I'm so glad I was frustrated in this moment that I now see what I was in the making to become. So as you head back to your host homes tonight, as you get in a small group later, before you keep your small group leaders up all night long, I know how it goes for you. Chug 15 Mountain Dews. Julian.
Don't give them ideas.
I don't have to lead a group tonight, so I'll give you all the ideas I want. You want to just come see me after I got all the ideas. But as you head back, guys, I want you to think about this one question, all right? When you get to small groups, I want you to talk about this one question. What's one thing about my now that feels pointless or frustrating? All right? Let me pray for you. Dear God, I thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for these students who came out to Walking Wisely and for this weekend retreat. I pray that you would work in hearts and in lives. I pray for our small group leaders as they stay up and counsel and hang out and have fun and just enjoy time pouring into these students. God, I pray these students be receptive to you and the callings that you have placed on their life. And that tonight as they would leave, that they would think about just treating now like it matters now. And how important that can be for understanding that we are all in the making of becoming what you want us to be. I pray all these things in your name. In Jesus' name, amen.